Counting in tenths isn't just from 0 to 1. You can do this between any numbers. I've extended this to include not just 0 to 1, but also 1 to 2, so you can see how this works. If we have a whole one and we add on a tenth, we have 1 and 1/10. And if we add on another tenth, 1 and 2/10, and another tenth, we have 1 and 3/10. Where we have a whole number with a fraction, we call these mixed numbers. So to continue with those, 1 and 4/10, 1 and 5/10, 1 and 6/10, 1 and 7/10, 1 and 8/10, 1 and 9/10, until we get to 1 and 10/10, which is the same as 2. Looking at that again, just using a different image, we have one whole pizza. If we add on a tenth more of a pizza, we have 1 and 1/10. We add another tenth, that's 1 and 2/10. And keep adding tenths, and the numerator will go up each time. Each time we have a whole pizza, and we're adding another tenth, until we get to 1 and 9/10. When we add a tenth to 1 and 9/10, we now have 2 whole pizzas. This line represents from 0 to 2. See if you can identify which number goes in each box on the number line. Pause the video, have a go. That one's just the fraction, 5/10, because we haven't got to 1 yet. But this one is 1 whole one, and the one beside that, where we've added on a tenth, is 1 and 1/10. Moving on, 1 and 4/10, and 2 before the 2, 1 and 8/10. This time the number line goes from 3 to 5, and I'm going to get you to identify which numbers go in which box. Pause the video, have a go. 3 and 1/10, 3 and 7/10, 4, 4 and 4/10, 4 and 9/10, which is 1/10 before you get to the whole 5. This time I've given you some mixed numbers and one whole number. See if you can locate where they belong on the number line that runs from 5 to 7. Pause the video, have a go. So 2/10 after the 5 is 5 and 2/10. 5 and 6/10 will be 6/10 after the 5. 6 will be right in the middle because it's halfway between 5 and 7. 6 and 5/10 will be 5/10 after the 6. And 6 and 7/10, that's 2/10 after 6 and 5/10. A line here that goes from 1 to 3, and in between each whole number it's been divided into 10. From 3, if we take away 1/10, we're going to have a mixed number, and we know that the whole number is going to be less than 3 because we've gone below the 3. So it's going to be 2 and so many tenths. Because it's 1/10 away from 3, it's going to be 2 and 9/10. And then as we count back, it's going to be 2 and 8/10, and 2 and 7/10. It will be 2 and however many tenths until we get back to just the 2. What I'm going to get you to do now is pause the video, work out if you're counting back in tenths, what will the next 2 numbers be? Pause the video, have a go. We're going to go smaller than the 2, so it will be 1 and something, 1 and so many tenths. Because we're counting back 1/10, it's going to be 1/10 less than 2, which is 1 and 9/10. And then counting back in another tenth is 1 8/10. If I put in the next few numbers, and then from 1 5/10, I want you to pause the video again and put in the next two numbers, counting back in tenths. From 1 5/10 to 1 4/10, and from 1 4/10 to 1 3/10. Once you've got the hang of counting forward in tenths, counting back shouldn't be a problem.